Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's Kai LaVeo. I know it's been a while, but we're gonna go back to basics, and we'll pretty much got my subscriber count up from the get-go. It's been a while. My subscriber count hasn't really grown in the last few years, but that's all right because I know I need to get back to basics, which was pretty much talking about the Asian culture versus the homeless culture, which is now culture two in America for some reason. I don't know why. We had these third world problems in the first world country, and we now get into the Trump thing, but let's just get into what's going on over there with our neighbors, China. I say we're neighbors because of all the trades and stuff we do. So let's go.
Young people in China nowadays just don't want to get married or have kids. Why is that? In this video, a guy says,
Why should I get married? It'll just make me poor. Like most people born in the 90s, I don't want to get married, have kids, buy a house or a car. I just want to live a life free from all these burdens.
I agree with him because see, a lot of these marriages, especially American marriages, they're suffering. They're a paycheck away from being homeless. But see, the funny thing is, they did a study saying that married men make more than single men. Well, duh. Because if you don't make more money and you have a spouse, she's telling you, you have a spouse that's on your ass telling you, you better make this or else we done. So you do anything in your power to keep your spouse. So you go out there and find 2 or 3 jobs.
this guy being interviewed on the street says,
You just asked me why I don't have a girlfriend, right? Why should I get married and have kids? It'll just leave me broke, won't it? Don't you know that many people born in the 90s are living without these four major burdens?
And I'm one of those. I was born in the late 80s, but I still came up in the 90s. So it's pretty much almost the same timing. The time is not too off. So, I mean, I have a car because where I live in a tech suburb. So there's not the public transportation is pretty much shit. So, yeah.
No wife, no kids, no house, and no car. So why shouldn't I enjoy spending my savings slowly?
Let's travel.
the interviewer suggests, if you find a girlfriend, you can make money together.
If your lifestyle costs $10,000 to $20,000 a month, why would you go for someone who earns only $4,000 to $5,000 a month in a factory? It's just going to be miserable for both. So, you've got to be compatible right from the start. Get it? If you're not, it's just going to be a tragedy.
Here in this video, a student is asked, do you have a girlfriend?
No,
Do you want one?
no.
Why?
Well, you're not gay, are you? See, here's what people don't understand, especially here in America. It's okay for women to be single, but then it's something wrong with the man when he's single. When in reality, it's more of a headache for a man to be in a relationship than it is a woman. Because see, most women only go after guys if they know they can get something from that guy. This is the high value man, the hard earning man, and whatever else. But see, in Asian culture, they're all about family. Strong ties to family bonds, right? And also financial bonds too. So you notice Asian parents, they school their children, especially their daughters, to marry up. See, the problem is in America, a lot of us tend to get the date down. So that's a big issue right there in itself. That's why you see Asian women with just guys that look beyond, I'm sorry, not beyond, under average. Guys that you think couldn't get anybody, they get better looking women than you because they have the fat pockets. And you didn't. You had the swagger, but you didn't have the pockets. So let's go.
Why not?
Because it's a waste of time and energy.
But wouldn't it be nice to have a girlfriend to have fun with?
No, it wouldn't be. If I don't have kids, I don't have vulnerabilities, and my life will be at least 80 to 90% less stressful.
And see, another thing is you got to realize these millennials, if you were born, let's say, if you were born like in the late 90s, I'm sorry, not late 90s, but let's say mid 80s, like me, mid 80s to 90s, you're almost 40 years old, right? A lot of us look pretty young. And that's why I look young, because I don't have the stress burden of children and a spouse. Yeah, I'm in this one bedroom apartment and it's actually quite nice for a one bedroom apartment in the Bay Area. in a tech suburb is actually not that bad. You know, maintenance is pretty cool. They do everything I ask. So yeah, life is cool. I just need to get more money.
Why bring an innocent life into this world without reason? Why should I raise a child with my hard-earned 3 million just to send them into a life of 996 work culture, become a slave to housing loans, and face unemployment at 35? In the end, only the state, banks, and capital will thank me, not my child. As they say, children have their own fortunes, but if I don't have any, I enjoy my own fortunes. It's heartbreaking for parents, but not having kids saves me the heartache. At least I can live a more authentic life without being a parent.
And see, the truth is, you're never financially ready to start a family, at least not in America. But see, America, we don't have a real culture. We don't really stand on nothing. But a lot of people, they'll just have kids anyway and rely on the system just because government assistance is their savior. And some of us choose not to live like that because now our lifestyles are micromanaged. We have to report how much money we make to the county and all that. I'm like, who wants to go through all that shit? And see, as a man, you got to realize once children are involved, we'll get accused of a lot more things. Because see, once we get put on child support, that prevents us from traveling. And another thing I like about the Asian culture is they usually just don't go out and procreate with anybody like a lot of us reckless Americans do. Go figure. See, I could talk like this because I live in the Asian community. So before y'all get in the comments section running y'all mouths, there's no reason for me to debate this issue. I mean, no, you can't just generalize a whole race. No, you can't. I said most black people, most Asians, most white people, most of whatever. That doesn't mean all. Most doesn't mean all. So yeah, let's go.
A young man in his 20s expressed his reasons for not wanting children during an interview. His words are full of irony, but with much insight. Viewers might wonder why not having children is likened to a vulnerability. Is raising a child really as costly as 3 million yuan? The young man's statement reflects controversial phenomena that have sparked debates in China, becoming the final straw for young people's reluctance to have children. Let's look at some data to understand why the Chinese Communist Party authorities are so concerned about China's current population issues. Chinese media Yitai analyzed the China Population and Employment Statistics Yearbook 2023 in January this year and found that in 2022, the unmarried rate for urban Chinese aged 25 to 29 was 57%.
You see that number right there? I watch a lot of other YouTubers, Minister Jap and a few others, and a lot of them tell you, do not settle in your 20s. Now see, as I sit back and think, I did a video, one of my last few videos, I did a video on China, Japan, and America put together. That the three of those countries they're not reproducing, they're not getting married. And a lot of it is because of social factors or economical factors. We had better jobs than our parents did, but then our parents were still well off better than us, even though they made less money than us. They weren't paying $5 a gallon of gas and, things like that. They weren't paying $2,000 a month for rent. You got to factor all that stuff in. They made less money, but then they spent less too. They were able to save more money than we were. But see, being that in this millennial generation, we have more opportunities than they did without having to go back to school. We could pretty much find ways to live on our own now. Whether we're living overseas in Thailand or the Philippines, we have digital nomads now. It's just something you have to think about. And that's why these numbers are like this now. That's why.
And 20% for those aged 30 to 34. The unmarried rate for 30 years old in cities reached 31%. In town populations, the unmarried rate for the 25 to 29 age group was 45%. Towns approved for establishment from the main part of country-level populations. In rural areas, the unmarried rate for the 25-29 age group was 47.4% and 19.3% for those aged 30 to 34. In rural areas, the unmarried rate for all age groups over 50 was over 2%. The report indicates that the unmarried rate for urban population in the 25 to 29 and 30 to 34 age groups is higher than in towns and rural areas. Rural population.
Okay, we're not gonna sit there and play the whole video, but between the ages 25 to 29, that's probably gonna be the hardest decade of your life because see, a lot of people are not where they're supposed to be or want to be at. So go figure, right? It's like the average 25, this age group right here, at least in America, majority of them are still at home if they didn't go off to the military. Either they're in the army or they living at home with their parents. And people that are in this age group, they gonna live at home for at least another 10 to 15 years. A lot of people ain't gonna be able to get out their parents' house until they like 40. I know people that are over 40 and they still live with their parents right now, actively speaking. But yeah, that's just what we're looking at. Because see, the average person can't afford a one-bedroom unit by themselves. So as men are told not to ever move into a woman's place. You don't move into a woman's place just because you want to save on the rent. That's what roommates are for. So a lot of people are like this. Either I get married or I get a roommate. I can't pay all these bills on my own. But then some people are like, nah, forget that. I'm a hustler. I'm going to grind it out. But see, most Asians I know come from large families and there's like 7 to 8 people in one house. So they really don't have to worry about the mortgage or rent as much because everybody has good jobs in that household. Now, versus most of us black people, which are a minority of the population in America, we can't do that because we're told to do everything on our own. See the difference? While other cultures work together, we work against one each other and tell them we can do it by ourselves when really we're just heavily burdened in bills. So that's the take on that. You know, I just always found the Asian culture fascinating. I mean, I know it's typhoon season right now. I was going to hit Japan, but I guess I'll do that later on, early in the year. But anyway, this is Kyle Vale. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Peace.